Guys, welcome back to another manga tutorial. Okay, no. Alright, so basically what I wanted to go over in this one was blackouts. Yes, I drew this for you guys. And no, it's no one specific. It kind of looks like Naruto, but he's gonna have black hair. It's kind of a random guy. So it's gonna be a little bit more than just blackouts. It's more so the ratio between whites, blacks, and screen tones, and the different styles of how different people do it. Some may know about this, some may not. Some may know more about it than others, and I'm hoping that I will be able to tell you guys a little bit more on where I come from it, where I come on it. That sounds really weird. And basically my thoughts on this stuff. So as we know, anyone who is familiar with the Naruto, Naruto is known for its very solid blacks with lines in creases. And typically these styles, kind of like One Piece too. I have One Piece volume, but I don't have it near me. But typically these shonen styles have very solid blacks, more inking to them, and less screen tone. Typically the screen tones only account for things that are more so shaded or in a very specific color or closer to the camera shaded. And they don't use screen tones for special effects of any sort. Most of their drawing and everything in their images are done either through hatching or blacks, whites, inks, and then screen tones are kind of like the back burner. Screen tones are for stuff like this, foreground, background. You're kind of focusing on Sasuke, but then you see this kind of like figure used for flashbacks. It's not really, screen tones aren't very dominant in this style. And good thing about this kind of style is it lets you breathe with your inking, and your blackouts, this style makes things go very fast. And I really appreciate this kind of style, and I've been wanting to do a style like this. But in my heart I'm like, ooh, but I want to put in really cool blackout, shines, because they don't really do blackout shines in Naruto. I like blackout shines, but I also really appreciate his work. Like, I love all his work, and it's not that I don't like his work. It's just, I don't know if I want to do it exactly like that. But at the same time, I can't sit over here and do this. This shit where this motherfucker, dang dude, this guy is ridiculous. Freaking Takashi Obata, screen tones everywhere. Like, oh god, I love this small manga. Anyways, I can't, there is so much work put into this type of stuff where there's so many different layers. And if you think, okay, I could do this for a page. Well, can you keep this up every page for every color? You have to stay consistent. And this is one of the things I want to get around to. Is the thing is with Takashi Obata, he stays consistent with all his pages, with having more than one tone to it. So it has blacks, deep screen tones, light screen tones, and whites. And this happens in all of his stuff, and it gives a very realistic feel to it. And it's just astonishing. But it's like, this is very hard to do, let alone keep up for every single page. And one thing we need to think about as artists in America, or artists that aren't in Japan, we do not have assistants to help us screen tone this much stuff. Let's just be real. One of the weirdest scenarios where screen tones are very useful is in Naruto. I don't know if you guys remember Karin with the red hair and the glasses. She had red hair that I would consider you should either screen tone or you should make black, because she had very red hair. And it was completely white in the manga, from what I remember. Or was it completely black? I don't know, it was either completely white or completely black. And when I saw she had red hair, I was like, whoa! I was like, what the hell? The fuck? I was super confused. Like, for example, her hair looks like it could easily be screen toned or black. Like, turned into black and white. And her hair's completely white in this. And you gotta find a middle ground in these types of things. And that's just how it is, you know? With these kinds of mangas. And that's really cool though. Like, I appreciate this kind of work, and I want to do more work like that, because honestly, it's faster. If you're a single creator, being able to do single blackouts, it's faster. Now, then there's this kind of style where it's halfway between. It's not Takashi Obata, but it's not quite Naruto either. It plays around with screen tones and the idea of screen tones, but it doesn't have multiple different layers of screen tones. So essentially what it has is, you know, it may have some gradiated screen tones here. It'll use screen tones for like emotional moments, and it'll use screen tones for certain effects. But it plays around with not solid blacks, but blacks with maybe some texture to them, some shines. Some of them are completely solid black, like this, with lines in it. You know, it plays around with different versions of blacks and screen tones. And I do like this happy medium, which is something I might try to go more for. Though this is also annoying in its own way, because screen tones in general are very hard to play with. Because once you use screen tones, you use screen tones. You can wean your audience off, but it is harder. Screen tones are hard to get used to in knowing where to put them, how dark to make them, and stuff like that. Then we have another in-between guy, My Hero Academia, and I'm showing you all this stuff because I am going to do my own version, and I'm going to kind of show like different versions of how you could do something, a character like that, and what you have to decide to be able to do. So, and I'll also show you how to do the shines and all that good stuff. So you have another in-between person where they use screen tones for some shades. They use, they don't do just solid blacks, because this would have been a solid black with Naruto, but the reason why this is also good to be able to do this sometimes is when you have black on black, you're able to do a heavy screen tone to separate those darker parts that are supposed to be lighter though from those other blacks. So they are good for specific situations. But My Hero is also known for doing something that would be considered majority black, only highlight screen tones. And like this, majority black, highlighted screen tones. Majority black, highlight screen tones. And it's something where basically, if there are shines on the uniform, it's very minimal. And when they are put in, they put in screen tone in those spots. And I would have to say his are some very good in-betweens. And he does use grays or screen tones for some color variation. For like when, you know, Bakugo's gauntlet is green, so he uses screen tones there. And this is a good in between. He plays with them, but it majority relies on inks. But there is very heavy screen tonage used in certain parts, but the screen tones are for the most part very simple. They're flat screen tones, and every once in a while he might use like a, you know, this is actually put in from America, I think maybe, but maybe not. If it's not, he uses some gradiated screen tones, but majority it's just flat screen tones and whatnot like that. So there are layers to it, but not as much as Takashi Obata per se, and it can add a little bit more pizzazz to it. And then we have like the modern day Naruto, Black Clover, and it's kind of also, you know, One Piece a little bit too. It's majority ink and then solid blacks, but he doesn't quite use the lines to portray how Naruto did to portray the creases. What he does is he'll add ever so slight shines sometimes and then some hatching to separate areas, but for the most part it's mostly blacks, and he uses screen tones for every once in a while an emotional effect. And I've hardly ever seen Naruto do that, but he'll just use hatching for the most part. And this manga has a very good medium of, it's more towards Naruto's side and uses a little bit of what My Hero Academia does. So you gotta find your balance. So the people who do this, that don't just use solid blacks and only screen tones for like Naruto style, where they use it for a solid character to show the foreground versus background kind of feel, or for flashbacks, he uses it where lighter on the screen tones, still almost solid blacks. And this is closer to Naruto, but a little towards My Hero Academia. And this is kind of the style in which most manga are going towards nowadays, is using more of this, using a little bit more screen tones. And I feel like this is the perfect example of what is good, where if you want to if you don't want to use that much screen tones, do it like Black Clover, because they use just enough that it is just enough that they can use it for special little effects, and they also use the blacks and pen work in also the right way as well. And I've kind of found my own way in my own sense. I'll try to do some of these, and I guess I'll do mine in the end. I don't think I'm going to try to copy Takashi Obata's, because that is going to kill me. I'm leaving this background the way it is. I'll probably finish this whole illustration up for you guys at some point, but this is mostly just to focus on blacks versus whites and screen tones and all that. So let's just do the first one, really simple. Naruto style. Select, select, select. And this is what's beautiful about it. We're gonna go all the way up on a different layer and put this in a folder. And then we'll fill that in, black and black. Boom, we Naruto status right now. See, this is the glory of Naruto's style, is you can just do that, and then what you essentially do is you would do that, and that would essentially be Naruto's sort of style. And let's see what kind of hatching he might do in certain areas. He doesn't do much hatching for shadows. I know he will do them here and there, but he keeps it pretty clean as for shadows go. He doesn't show a whole lot of shadows at all. So this is essentially Naruto style. Let's just leave it at that. That's essentially Naruto style. We could do this, since this is glasses. I'm sure he would do something like this. Sure he would at least put some glass in, you know? Some glass shines or something, you know? Or maybe he would just leave them white. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to ask him. No, I'm kidding. I wish I could. Let's just do that for benefit of the doubt. Shines for the glasses. And maybe a little bit of detail. I don't even think he does under the chin shadowing. Oh, he does. He does do under the chin shadowing. And then I know he might do some shadowing like that, but he hardly does any shadowing that has to do with faces. Hardly does any of that stuff. So I guess let's leave that stuff blank. Probably end up doing this. Yeah, like that. Then you probably end up doing this. And maybe he would hatch the inside of that. Not sure. Alright, I'm not even sure if he does that type of stuff. But I know he doesn't do that many hatches, honestly. He does it on like the neck area a lot. To show like neck. Not even a lot, I wouldn't even say a lot. I'm sure there's specific points in his series where he does it more, like it's here. But this is volume 26. He doesn't do it as much in this volume, at least. Let me look in this volume. This is one of his more recent works. Ah, yes, he does a lot more hatch work in these. A lot more hatch work. Okay, he does. Yeah, he does do a lot more hatch work in that. So let's just and let's just leave it at that for Naruto style. Very simple. If I wouldn't have talked about hatching for a billion years, that's what it would have looked like. Essentially, I'm not saying this is perfect. I'm just giving you guys a rough idea. But he doesn't use any screen tones for any of this stuff. So now let's close that. Get rid of that. Let's get new one going. Put that in there. Okay. So now let's go for something that's more Black Clover-ish. So let's see. Black Clover does the halfway in between, where he will do more so hatching, mostly blacks, but hatching in areas he wants to have open. Want to have a little bit of shines in. So let's do it like, but he doesn't have that many shines, remember that. So he might do something like this. Tries to keep the shines to a minimum, it looks like. Oh, let's Nah, maybe it won't do that one. Let's do this part right here. A little bit of this part right here. Maybe a little top parts right here. Alright, so let's see what he does with black hair. Alright. He completely solidifies black hair, it looks like, for the most part. This is the only volume I have of his, so it looks like when there is a black hair character, he mostly solidifies it. If he doesn't, looks like he puts a little bit of shines in. Yeah. Then again, I think that could be other artists who drew that. I don't know. Let's say he does put a little bit of shines in just in case. And if they're normally really thin shines, I noticed. So we would be able to just grab this bucket, fill that in, fill in his hair, fill in hair, fill in hair. Alrighty, so we got the black clover look coming along here. Let's say he opens up this part a little bit. And then what he does normally is it looks like he hatches in. No. Hatchin. No, Chris, that wasn't hatching. It works as hatching when you can't see the black areas. Now, the thing is, the reason why you either do shines that are filled in by something, or you don't do shines at all. There's a purpose for that. Because when you do shines that aren't filled in, basically, if there's more than one person next to each other and you have a bunch of shines and none of them are filled in, the shines start having this weird dominating effect. And I've had this before, where they start looking really strange. Doesn't mean you can't do that, but the aesthetic isn't as pleasing. Definitely is not as pleasing. And I've seen styles with it, and it feels a little off when they have it, and it just starts feeling a bit strange. This at least helps break it up. And if Black Clover has hatch marks in his shines, that's typically what it might look like. Now let's just say, for benefit of the doubt, he does do a little bit of shine, minimal shines on hair. Just in case he does that. I saw it in the end of the book. I don't know if that was his art, but say he does that. Let's see what else he does for shading in other areas. Okay, he definitely does shading, hatch shading in other areas to show shade. So he does shading like this for the neck. Did he show shading for the face? He does show some shading for the face if he wanted to, but typically doesn't. Let's just add a little bit here. Alrighty. And let's add, oh, missed this part. Alright, let's add a little bit of shading in where this skin is, because it's actually skin underneath here. Now, from what I've seen, it looks like he's another creator that doesn't do screen tones to represent color. So for example, they're just effects. He doesn't use it to represent color of a specific clothing somebody is wearing. So he keeps it strictly to black and white for the clothing and hatch marks for shine effects and whatnot. If there is a shine, trying to, dole it out slightly, maybe with some hatch marks. Yeah, looks like he does not use any screen tones, straight screen tones, to represent a color of any specific sort. The way I'm saying that sounds really pretentious, of any specific sort. But yeah, so that kind of represents Black Clover's style a little bit there. And that's pretty nice too. I like it. I actually like Black Clover's style. It has a little bit of variety to it, but I also like the simplicity of Naruto's. Now, let's see. This is not any specific effect going on with him, so like not any specific mood of any sort. Let's select this and then alright, let's do that with it. So let's just leave it at that and say this is Black Clover's style. Putting a little bit of, hatch marks in need to be shaded areas, essentially. Alright. Voila! Kind of like Black Clover style. I feel like he would do these areas. Oh no, I forgot this in the Naruto one. Oh no. Alright. Oh, Black Clover. Put a little thing on the side. Okay, we're just gonna leave it like that. And now let's hit that away. Let's do another one, another folder. And let's do something that's more so like, let's do something that's a little bit more like the mix of these two. Because these two have a pretty similar sort of way of doing things where they do screen tones to represent color, and they do screen tones to fill in black if there's a black color and it has a shine. They do screen tones to fill in the empty areas, though the Gray Man's style uses a lot of negative black and white space differently than My Hero Academia does. My Hero Academia has a little bit more variety of screen toning in specific areas. That's a stylistic choice on the Gray Man's part, where he uses a lot of blacks and whites in specific areas to use blacks and whites as negative space because of the setting it's in, and it really helps the atmosphere. But My Hero Academia is supposed to be more down to earth kind of thing going on. So let's not do the negative space thing. Let's do it more My Hero Academia style, where when they do have blacks, there's minimal border but with screen tone, minimal shine but with screen tone. So it's not always like that, but let's may not seem minimal, but that's the problem. There's a lot of creases here. All right, now let's go for it. So let's fill this in. This is on a new one, right? Yep. Fill in, fill in, fill in, fill in, fill in, fill in. Oh no! You have to go back. All right. Fill in, fill in, fill in, fill in, fill in. Yeah, let's just go with that. Let's see what they do with black hair when they have black hair. Okay, okay. So they do some shines. They do more like if so if you're doing shines, essentially you just want to try to push. So push, 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 push. Its shines aren't as complicated as we make them out to be, honestly. The easiest part to remember is just to get used to them, is to just do it a little bit on one side. A little bit. Don't have to go crazy with them if you're gonna do them. Just do a little bit. Just like this. Just go and then go. Close them in a little bit. Close them in a little bit. Close off sides. You don't have to go crazy with it. And you don't have to be exact either. You can learn to be exact. The better you get at it, but you don't have to be exact. Now let's fill in. Villain. No. So far what I'm seeing from My Hero Academia is they do not fill in the black areas of the hair with Screentone, but I'm sure they do some places, but I'm not going to do that here. So My Hero Academia does consider, let's say, this is a specific color. So, and I'm going to just, oh, kind of forgot. Oh, that's because it's in here. Let's turn this down, and then, now let's turn this. Oh, what the heck? Why is this a triangle? I want it to be a square. Okay, there we go. Oh, let's go to multiply. Zoom out. Multiply. That's color burn. Multiply. All right. Why is it still doing that? Oh, I understand why. It doesn't, it's affecting when your Screentone, if your effect layer is in a folder, it will not affect any layers but what is in the folder. So I had to take it out of the folder and just kind of have to imagine that it's just in the folder. So let's imagine this is a color. My Hero Academia would do that for a specific color. Now let's imagine that this is specific color too. They would essentially just Screentone this in as well, instead of like how Black Clovers does it. And it looks snazzy, right? Looks good. So let's say there's something with specific color. Do we go really light with it? Is there light screen toning for? There is. I imagine these goggles being not white, so they would probably screen tone them something. But I imagine them being a little bit lighter on the screen tones. My Hero Academia doesn't do that many gradiated screen tones unless it's a background or something, and they would probably go a little bit darker on something like this, I would imagine. Let's go a little bit darker. Yeah, that works. And then let's do a little bit of hatching. Yeah, see, this definitely gives off a My Hero Academia vibe. And they might even do a little bit of here and there. Let me look. No. They will do a flat screen tone. See, there's gradation here, but it's for a background. They'll do a flat screen tone with hatching to it. So if I wanted to do anything with that, to change the color of it, to give highlights, I would have to hatch. Of course, there are hatching effects in Clip Studio that I could use, but I'm deciding not to use because I'm just showing you real time what I can do with my hands. And they typically don't hatch on this type of thing. Typically don't. So I'm going to go a little bit darker with this, and I'm going to fill in this part. See, I wanted to show you guys this in real time. That is why I didn't want to do the background with it, because it would have screwed everything up. It would have been way too hard to do. And they might do some light screen tonage to show shade here and there, right? Not casually, only in a moment that really needs it. So they don't do it casually. So we wouldn't need that there. If we wanted a shade there, we would typically just go ink style on it. Oh, sorry. Hopefully I didn't go off the camera at all. I was just so focused on getting these designs. You would just go hatch style on it. So what about the face? Casually, does he hatch on the face? See, that's a problem that I had a lot. I hatched on the face when it was a casual face. And you don't need that when it's casual a lot of the times, unless you're doing a really specific effect. Don't do hatch marks on the face. Typically, it's just straight white. Maybe they will come over here and do some on the ears, though. Different story. Maybe a little bit right there. Different story. But they typically don't do any on the face. Maybe a little bit down here for this part. Black that in. Do that, because he does do a lot of see what he does. Does he do under chin? I saw one right there, but that was an effect for dramatic effect. He doesn't do that much, but I do see a few that are like, let's do it in the spirit of My Hero Academia style of this. Let's do that. I did see some thin ones, but I just wanted to try this out with his. And voila, let's go with that. Except for the fact that I honestly believe that he would probably add a little bit more detail into these. I do feel like that. To add more depth to the black, or acting like this is a specific color. And then, but I do feel like he would grab these, go to the Screentone, and I do feel like he might add in a gradient to this, a gradiated Screentone. Soft. Back. Okay. It's too small. Okay, yeah. I do feel like he could be the type of creator that would do this for some shines. Use a gradiated one only for the purpose of the fact that this is glass, to kind of show that effect. But other than that, he probably wouldn't gradiate any clothing effects. And yeah, let's just say that's My Hero Academia's sort of style there, where it's a mixture of hatching, it's a mixture of, you know, Screentone in areas to display color, and it's a good in between. Now, just imagine how long something like this would take if it was, oh, he even hatches in sometimes. Imagine how long something like this would take if it was Takashi Obata stuff. Now, that is what you would have to do for every single page. The thing is, the reason why it took me so long to do it his style is because I kept on looking at his stuff. If I did this on a regular basis, this would not be as hard to choose what to do on each one of these things. I would know this is this type of Screentone, this is this type of Screentone, this is this type of Screentone, and I would just go with it. So it wouldn't be as hard, but it wouldn't be as fast as Naruto's would be. Oh, gotta miss this one. Oh, that's a little dark. There we go. Oh, almost missed this. Oh, saving. Alright, now, let's say that's My Hero Academia's. Let me just look around just in case. If it was a rope, he might add in some little tick marks on the rope for effect. Let's just say he would. Because he's an effect kind of guy. And no, I didn't want this neck scarf to be the same color as this. So, okay. So, that would essentially be my Hero Academia style, which I would have to say mine is closest to now. That is the closest mine is to. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is exactly what mine is like, but this is essentially what I would be doing. I may leave some of this a little bit blank, but you know, this is pretty fast, pretty easy. A lot of the time I would probably do this, and I would probably add in like this is something I would end up doing. Where I would just do that, do a selection, and then I would hit that up, do it like that. And then I would probably hit this side up and do, see, a lot of the time, because of how fast I have to work for my deadlines, a lot of the time I do really sloppy selections, and then I just throw in a gradiated Screentone, but yet it looks good. It looks good, and sometimes what will happen is I'll go in with effects here. I'll do that. Oh, you guys heard nothing of any sort that just conspired out of my bum bum. You guys are like, dude, you're nasty right now. You are nasty. And then I might go and hit this up. Hit down here. I might go and do this. And that's pretty much the extent I would do it at. Every once in a while I'd add some extra stuff here, or I might do some, I might do something like where I go like this, and select this area, or, you know, let's do that, and then let's just hit the lock, and then what I would do is I would hit the selection, go all the way down, and then I would do a gradient of this. Since we're working digitally, it works well, and this adds a little bit more depth to it. And see how fast I did that? It was just, and this is just stuff you kind of learn as you go. And I can do Screentone tutorials at some point, but that's essentially what I do when I Screentone. Let's see, I might even add, depending on how important the scene is, I might do something like this, a Screentone. Add a little gradient here, a little gradient here, show some shadowing, voila. And that's essentially what I would do. And I like to add in little, here and there, sometimes I'll add in little marks here, little marks there, sometimes little marks there, but I've been trying to ease it up on the Screentoning because I don't want to do too much Screentones, but when they're fast little techniques like this, I'm okay with it. So essentially what you want to figure out is your balance. What I kind of want to do is something close to this and minimal Screentone effort, but just enough to give a little bit more oomph. You know what I'm saying? So let's I'm gonna actually have to, let's not do that. Darn it. I hate that. Okay, duplicate layer. I'm gonna have to go and put this up here. And I'm gonna have to put this down here. And then I'm gonna have to go like that. Okay, it's multiply. So, okay, now I can show all this stuff one by one. Okay, I'm gonna give this to you guys. But so essentially, we got the Naruto style right here. Let's zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the whole thing. Naruto style. Then we got Black Clover style. Then we got mine / My Hero Academia style. But see, the thing is, I don't know if I would do these type of screen tones for everything. These type of little extra screen tony things for everything. Because if you're doing that per panel, that is so many more actions that you would have to do per panel, per person, per everything. It's much harder. So I've been trying to find an in-between where I like My Hero Academia stuff, but I've been putting less screen tones involved with other things and just kind of screen toning here and there with stuff. And this is what I like most. If you want to do stuff very fast, I like the idea of doing something like Naruto's stuff at some point, because I like the idea of doing it with the series. Like, this seems really fun and really fast, and typically there's more inking detail and it seems really fun. Right now, I know people love screen tones, and there's a deep love for screen tones in my bones, and that's why I do screen tones, or else I wouldn't do them. There's something I really love about screen tones, even though Kishimoto's work is some of my favorite work in the world. I never experienced screen tones with his work that much, so it was kind of like I must have fell in love with screen tones from something else. It must be like Takashi Obata or something. I don't know. But there's a deep love for screen tones, and a lot of us have it, you know? A lot of us have it. We really like screen tones, the look of those dots. It feels very manga-like. And so that's why I don't really want to leave it behind. And I've been trying to find happy medium between everything. Because if you screen tone a character like this, the background's going to have some sort of minimalistic screen tone, at least for the background. To have some sort of gradients like that and whatnot. Not gradients, but flats like that of screen tone in the background. And I think My Hero Academia is a good in-between for all of that stuff. And I can teach you how to do some stuff like this. Good example of what I was talking about with glass. Anything that's glass and shiny, he will put a gradiated screen tone in it and put some sort of shines. But in any case, I hope you guys liked this one. I hope it helped you a little bit decide what you guys want to do. And I hope you guys learned a little bit maybe about how to do some shines. Just really quick, I guess I will show you how to do a really quick shine. Your shines can pretty much just be like, they're essentially just, if you were to want to do a really quick shine, you could essentially just do that. And then like, or you can do it like this. And I essentially did the same thing as I did here. All I did was a bunch of lines, and it made it seem like it's more detailed than it is. but really I just did the same thing as this shape, but I just constantly was doing this the whole time. I closed it in. Then if I were to do this around it, and I would do this. Darn it, that background messed it up. But yeah, essentially turn out like that. Let's do this one too. Voila! Those are essentially some fast screen tonage things that you can do. I wonder if there's something I can do to get rid of these areas right here. And if you wanted to, you could, if you really wanted to, you could actually go in and you could clean that back up if you wanted to and go outward like that. But yeah, those are some simple ways to do shines like that. And with these shines, I would say just don't go complicated. Literally just follow the wrinkles, do it a little bit on the sides. Don't go in everywhere. Don't overcomplicate it. Just simplify things as much as possible. In any case, I hope this helped you guys. I'll be posting these images, and I'll see you guys in the next video.